Hello, everybody, and welcome to PCDJ's very first webinar, hopefully the first of many. We're going to step you through kind of the basics of digital DJing, what you need to get started. Really a general overview of that. We're going to show you a little bit about the file formats and what's out there and where you can get legal music for DJs. We're also going to give you a brief overview of our three flagship products here: PCDJ Dax, PCDJ Red Mobile, and PCDJ Karaoke. So bear with me, and I'll try to make it quick and painless. If you do have questions, just so I don't forget at the end of this, if you have any actual suggestions for future videos or anything we didn't cover that would be really helpful to you, please send them in. These are only going to get better with your feedback. You can reach me directly at rsherr@pcdj.com. That's Ryan Scher, which the email is rsherr@pcdj.com. So let's go ahead and jump right in. And again, if there's questions at the end, feel free to fire them off or give us a call. Actually, you can call myself or call Mike at 877-999-7235, extension 2. So let's get started. So I've put together this little PowerPoint presentation that'll help me and you along the way. And I'm going to open it up. Okay, so this is our agenda for today. We're going to give you a brief introduction to everything, an overview of what you need to get started from the computer, what's the right one for you, the sound card, why do you need a sound card, different options that may be available to you, the cables that you'll need, DJ controllers, which are optional. And maybe I can explain a little bit about why you need them or why you'd want them. An external DJ mixer, which is also optional, but I would say a preferred way to go. And then we're going to get into a little bit about the different content that's out there, different DJ content, audio, karaoke, music videos, what are the most popular formats, and of course where you can obtain legal music for DJs or karaoke jocks or VJs for that matter. We're going to get a little bit into setting up the basics. I'll go ahead and show you in our software, what settings you would want to use for setting up your sound card outputs, if you're using the internal mixer versus an external mixer, and a question we get asked a lot, setting up a secondary output for video karaoke. How do you get just the words or just the video output to a secondary screen? And of course, how to select or enable a controller. And then I'll just go ahead and open up our various programs and just show you how they look and what their different capabilities are. A little bit about PCDJ. PCDJ develops products and services that capitalize on the digital convergence of club and mobile DJ world. A bunch of fancy words basically means we make software for professional entertainers. We were established in 1999. We're located here in beautiful sunny Clearwater, Florida. We had the first commercially sold dual MP3 DJ software in the world. That was the Digital 1200 SL. It was commercially sold. By that we mean it was sold in stores. We're currently sold in over 56 countries throughout the world. We develop a full line of entertainment products, including karaoke software. Our mission is to make DJ's livelihood easier and more enjoyable. When we started this in 1999, people were taking out crates of CDs, vinyl, what have you, and more or less, breaking their backs every day just to get to work. And of course, when you had to search for a record, it was a matter of flipping through these different various crates and everything to just find that one record or that one CD you're looking for. Of course, now we have a wonderful tool called the Search, which I will show you in a little bit. So a little bit about me, so you know who's talking here. I've been with the company since 1999. I've worked my way up through the ranks, more or less. I started out doing lead generation for the company, moved on to doing kind of direct end user sales, to doing kind of global sales and distribution, to managing the sales and marketing department. And now I'm the general manager for PCDJ. So I've really seen what what the guys in the trenches see. Love dealing with the customers. I've got a relationship with pretty much everybody I've ever dealt with in the past, and they can still reach me. I kind of pride myself on being a guy that you can get a hold of if you need some help or need some assistance with our products. So enough about me. Let's carry on. PCDJ, the industry standard for club and mobile DJs. Since '99, as I mentioned, we've been doing this. We had the first, a lot of people don't know this, we partnered with Newmark, and we actually created the very first hardware controller for DJs called the DMC-1, or at least the first commercially sold controller. It's a nice silver rack-mountable 19-inch controller, plugged in at the time by serial, and controlled our software, which at the time was PCDJ Blue and PCDJ Red 5.2, which is really the software that kind of put us on the map. To date, we have over 12 million downloads of our software. That's from our site and from various places like CNET. So we've always been a very popular product throughout the industry. We are distributed in a lot of the major chains you're probably aware of, Guitar Center, Sam Ash, and a bunch of other mom and pop shops and websites throughout the U.S. and globally. Okay, so here we go. What do you need to become a digital DJ? Well, obviously the first thing you need is a computer. Okay, so we've got 3 options on screen. Desktop, Windows laptop, Mac laptop. You can pretty much scrap the desktop. There might still be a place and a time and a need for that. They do have some advantages. Maybe if you're in a club install, something where the product's going to be stationary, they don't overheat as much as, say, a laptop does. A lot of guys, which I don't have pictured here right now, they use rack mount systems in a lot of these locations, which are simply 19-inch rack mountable machines that weigh a ton, but they are upgradable. So you can swap out RAM, you can upgrade the motherboard, the processor power. So over time, the system can kind of grow with you and your needs. Laptops, though, they're the de facto standard within the industry, just because they're lighter, easier, streamlined. You can pick them up and walk into a club, throw them in a carry-on bag, and take that plane ride to your next gig. So it's a simple, easy way to do it, and they're powerful these days. There was a time and place where laptops were, we'd say, don't go that route because they are going to overheat on you. Processor power was limited, RAM was limited, and they couldn't grow with you. Well, you can buy a top-of-the-line laptop today that should last you years. That's going to be more than substantial to run our products, or really anything we can dream up in the next few years. Just to go briefly over your requirements, we always, and a lot of sites do this, you have minimum and recommended. Take it from me, you generally don't want to go with the minimum. That's just going to get you by. Go big. If you have the machine for it, you can grow with things. If you just want to do audio mixing now, maybe the minimum system requirements would be enough. But if you're thinking about adding video mixing or karaoke down the road, you're going to want a little bit more of a powerful machine. And specifically items like your video card. So if you can, of course, you can probably pause this at any time too and check out, what we've listed here as minimum system requirements and recommended. You can also visit us, of course, at PCDJ.com, and any of the product pages for PCDJ Dax, PCDJ Red Mobile, or Karaoke will have the recommended requirements there listed for you, so you can use those to go out and get the right machine for the job. One thing just to touch on, I mentioned video card. A lot of these machines today, they come with shared graphics, shared memory, so they share that with the rest of the machine. What that means is it may be good for some other standard video applications, say Windows Media Player, things like that. But when it comes to really being able to mix videos and loop and beat mix and add effects and transitions and various things like that, you're going to want a powerful video card. You're going to want a video card that has dedicated memory. We recommend at least 512. You can get 512 cards built into these laptops, whether it's a Mac or a PC. and you can go all the way up to a gigabyte, you know. So it's usually a good rule of thumb when it comes to video card memory and RAM. The more the merrier. So the more you have, the better off you're going to be doing real-time operations in the software. You know, with all the great little features that we have now with on-screen waveforms, all this beat assist stuff that helps you with beat mixing or figuring out where the breaks in songs are. A lot of that is going to take up visual resources, and thus the video card really, having a powerful video card is kind of important. Sound cards. Okay. Every computer comes with a sound card built into it. That's that little black or green mini jack on the side of your laptop or out of the back of your computer. Okay, that's okay. You know, I mean, that generally speaking these days they're all right. They sound pretty good. Obviously, what you don't get is two outputs. With DJ software, with our DJ software, you can cue and monitor in your headphones. So just like, you know, a dual disc CD player or two turntables running to a mixer, you can preview, you know, one deck in your headphones while the other plays live. So the audience hears one track or your mix track output, but you're able to queue up either the A, B, or in the case of PCDJ Dax, the 1, 2, 3, or 4 deck in your headphones before sending it live. So I can listen, I can get my mix the way I want to, make sure that's the right song, for instance, before playing live. So what these devices do is allow that. These are professional audio cards. If you don't have a professional grade audio card, you're doing it wrong. I put that there because, you know, besides the advantage of having two outputs, you can cue. You know, you can cue and monitor your headphones, like I said, but you also have professional connections. You're using RCA connections instead of that little flimsy mini jack. So with that, you know, you're going to get better sound. It's going to be crisper. You're going to have, you know, higher highs, lower lows, more punch on the low end. So it is highly recommended if you're using DJ software in the professional space that you have one of these professional audio cards. Other advantages, ASIO and Core audio support. What that is those are your drivers, okay? With your standard, let's say Windows laptop, you're going to be running direct sound, which is okay. Direct sound is the you know, the standard within Windows. What it means though is there's a lot of latency, and by latency I mean if you touch a button, you know, if I press play in the software, the time between I press play, when I'm pressing play, and the software reacts to that button press, that's your latency. Okay, so when you're using direct sound, DirectX, you know, you could be looking at 12 to 20 milliseconds, sometimes significantly more than that, which means, you know, you'll have to kind of lead in with your button press if you're doing things like beat mixing. When I hit play, I want true instant start, like your top-of-the-line CD player, like your Pioneer or Denon CD deck. You want to be able to press play and it be spot on and accurate. So these sound cards will offer this ASIO Core audio support, which means a lot lower latency. In many times, if you have the right computer, going back to the specifications, those recommended specs for the machine, you can be running as low as 2 milliseconds. So that's really fast. It'll feel just like you're using professional grade CD players. So that's always something that people worry about when they're making the switch from hardware to software is, you know, is it going to be as accurate? Is it going to be just like I'm using my traditional CD player deck or even turntables for that matter? Well, it is, you know, as long as you get yourself a pro audio card. At PCDJ.com, we do offer the American Audio VersaPort, which is the item you see pictured in the top left. If you go to PCDJ.com and visit our store, we do offer those, I believe, at $129. Really good value for the money. Has the same technology that the Gigaport HD sound card has, which has been popular with our users for years. It's just packaged in a really nice little design. You have volume controls and stuff on the sound card itself. So really easy to connect, really easy to configure, and the sound is really good for the buy, for the money. Carrying on. Cables. Cables. Why cables are important. Do not go to Radio Shack and buy some skimpy cables because they were, you know, the blue light special of the day. Make sure you buy some good cables, some monster cables or something like that. With the gold connections, that always has better connectivity, you know, which means better sound. You will notice a difference. You skimp on cables, you know, there's a good chance you're going to have tinny sound, static within the sound, So get yourself some good cables. Guitar Center, Sam Ash, those type of venues, they're going to have the really good cables. We have two different cables sets pictured here, and there's a reason for that. On the left, we have your 1/8 inch mini jack mono configuration cables. As you see, you have on one side little mini jack, on the other side you have two RCAs. So what that means is, if you do not want to go out and purchase a pro grade sound card, which again we highly recommend, you can use this little cable here, plug it into your little mini jack output, and it'll split that stereo signal into two mono channels. Our software, like many, have a pre-configured option in there to select mono output, so it will split that stereo out into two channels, which you can effectively then use one RCA with the right connection, which you'd need like, what is it? It would be like a female RCA to two, male RCAs to go to, your main output of your speakers, and the other side, like a female RCA to 1/4 inch male, female. That way you can plug in your headphones to there directly. So you use one side, one of those cables, for your main output to your speakers and amp, and the other side would be dedicated solely for your headphones. Again, you'd be running mono. The sound quality is not going to be as good because you're using your built-in laptop sound card, but it's a cheap way to go. If you are just getting started, maybe that's how you want to start. I know a lot of clubs also run mono, so it's not that big of a deal in those types of venues. Some of the newer clubs definitely run stereo. It's all about speaker placement, but if it's a very big club, speakers are positioned at various places across the other side and so forth. Stereo usually doesn't do the trick, so you run mono. On the right, we have a standard RCA cable. You got two males on each side. They'll plug from that sound card directly into your mixer, and that's so we're not confused here. That's exactly what that would be for, is that you take the two sets of RCA outs out of any of those sound cards that we had pictured on the previous slide, and you run directly into two separate channels of your mixer. So what will happen is you configure in your DJ software for player A out through the 1/2 output on the sound card, where you plug in one of these RCA cables, and the second deck in the DJ software would go through the 3/4 output on the sound card, which would then go to line 2 of your mixer. So in that instance, you'd actually be able to cue and monitor from any standard external mixer. I'll get into that a little bit more as we move along through these slides. Okay, DJ controllers. Now this is a completely optional thing, okay? I would not leave home without a controller. Reason being, it's just that tactile, hands-on interface. A lot of us, when we started with digital DJing, myself included, we came from a hardware background. We came from being able to touch the vinyl or touch the jog wheel, or obviously big play and cue buttons, loop buttons, dedicated buttons for this and that. So fiddling around with a keyboard and mouse, you can't do more than one thing at once for that matter. I mean, yes, maybe with the keyboard commands, but in a dark environment, it's going to be kind of hard to see your keyboard. So on a mouse, of course, you're clicking one item at a time. So a controller effectively allows you to have this hands-on interface with dedicated buttons. It plugs into your computer, mostly, generally speaking, all these devices pictured on screen, they plug in via USB 2.0 these days. So you one cable to the computer, you connect it, you select it in PCDJ Dax or PCDJ Red Mobile, and it takes over from there. Many of the times we've pre-configured these devices. I think actually the only thing pictured on screen that we don't currently support natively, which means built into the software, it's just plug and play, is the Denon DNS 3700, which is something we want to add. I actually have it pictured here because it's a tabletop unit, which is kind of a newer addition to the controllers. Previously speaking, when digital DJing started, it was more of a mobile DJ's world. It made more sense for them. You cut down on carrying these crates of CDs and taking requests all day. It's just a very tedious process. Having everything, your entire music collection on a hard drive, being able to access it through the library instantly using search, basically improve the quality of life for most of these mobile jocks. So many of the controllers today, though, as you can see, are geared for those that want to do maybe a little bit more than just hitting play, setting a loop, setting a cue point, things like that. They want to scratch, they want to cut, they want to add effects, they want to do various things like that. So most of these controllers have these functions built right in. There's kind of a combo of things going on right now. Some controllers, to be clear, come with sound cards built into them. So instead of going and buying a secondary sound card, like the VersaPort pictured previously, or for that matter, using one of the cables to split the mono channel, with most of these controllers, like the American Audio DP2, you plug in USB to the computer, and the sound comes right through it. So not only does it act as the controller for the software, where you can manipulate all the functions directly from it, it also becomes the sound device. So the audio travels through this, it passes through. The American Audio DP2, if you look at it on screen, that's the one on the top left. It also has a mixer built into it. And the way most of these controllers are, the DP2 is a perfect example of it. You can either use the built-in mixer or bypass it entirely. So you can run to your own external mixer. So you can, it's all in how you configure it in the software. So one cable to the machine makes it less clutter, less mess. So I really like the idea of using a hardware-based DJ controller with a built-in sound card. A couple other devices pictured here is the Vestax VCI 300. It's more of a tabletop unit, all-in-one. So it's an all-in-one device. You just plug it in, and basically it acts as your mixer and controller. To keep in mind, though, most of these controllers like that are all-in-one, they're not great if you're going to be using a mic. If you're going to use 2 mics in the instance of karaoke jocks, I know you may even use 3. So it may not be the best solution for something like that. The controller that I really like on here, mainly because, if you're mobile, you're usually using a 19-inch rack case, the Denon DNHC 4500, which is also something we offer. Yeah, to be clear, on screen here, we offer at PCDJ.com the American Audio DP2, and we do offer the Denon DNHC 4500. We have them by themselves, but we also offer them in bundle packs with both PCDJ Dax and PCDJ Red Mobile, so you can buy them together, save a little money. And again, those are pre-configured, so they're real easy to set up and get going with. Denon HC4500 is another device that has a built-in sound card. And these are all high-quality sound cards. These are all very comparable to VersaPort or Gigaport. They all run ASIO or Core Audio, so they're very low latency. The Denon features a dot matrix display, touch-sensitive jog dials. So they're just like the head unit to your top-end CD players these days, only instead of connecting to CD drawers, you're connecting via USB to the computer and controlling your software. Let's see. Slide. Okay. Your mixer. Okay, so this is something that is also optional. Like I said, if you're happy with a keyboard and mouse, you can effectively probably go out with a keyboard and mouse. If you are using one of the pro-grade audio cards like the VersaPort, you would want to use a mixer. So you would run, like I said, player A, 1-2 out, player B, 3-4 out, run to 2 separate lines of any standard external DJ mixer, and you would be able to do all your queuing and monitoring directly from the board, just like you're coming out of the back of a traditional CD player. Why I've pictured the Rane MP25, and it says leave the sound card at home, because that does have a sound card built into it. So yeah, depending on what you use, if you're using a controller that has a built-in sound card, you'll have the option. But this is a really nice, really well-designed mixer by Rane for mobile jocks. That's why it's rack mountable, 19-inch in nature. But it's got a great sound card built in, 48 kilohertz sound quality, so it's really crisp, really clear, and it also will work great with our software. I know that Rane actually shows and features PCDJ Dax at some of their trade shows and events. They show off PCDJ Dax with this new mixer, so that works really good. And it's 4-channel. It's I think you have an additional mic input on the back. You have a mic on the front and on the back. You also have, just briefly, we have the Denon DNHX500 mixer, which is just an inexpensive mixer. It's very similar. That is not USB, just standard. You would use a standard sound card with it. And just the Pioneer DJM 700, which is more of a 10-inch mixer, which is really good for club installs and things like that, not so much for mobile DJing. So they are optional. Again, our software has a built-in crossfader, built-in EQ, it has built-in volume control, but many people still want that tactile hands-on control of their mixer, their channels, their EQ, and of course their mic inputs, which if you need mics, you're going to want an external mixer. Okay, so obviously another very important part of getting started with digital DJing is your content, is your music. It's your music. If you're doing karaoke, it's your karaoke tunes. And of course music video files, which our top-of-the-line solution, PCDJ Dax, offers video mixing, which is kind of the next big thing, I guess, when it comes to DJing, is from the clubs to mobile jacks, being able to offer that total multimedia experience to your clients has become very appealing. Plus, you get paid more for it, so why not offer it? So some of the popular formats, through the audio section, MP3, everyone knows what MP3 is. It's synonymous with digital DJing. It's the king. It's the standard. But it is lossless. I mean, not lossless, actually. There is some degradation of sound. We always recommend with your MP3s, if you're going to use MP3, which, I recommend it. I use it. It works. All software supports it. Everybody uses them, so it's really there's some continuity there. Everybody uses MP3. So, but if you're going to use it, make sure that you're ripping at high quality. And by high quality, I mean most ripping software allows you to set the bit rate, which is the lower the bit rate, the more compression, more or less, which means the more it's going to pull or extract from the file. At 192 kilobytes per second, you're basically near CD quality. By that, I mean between CD audio and MP3 at 192, you're not really going to hear much of a difference. The human ear really can't detect the really highs or the really lows that it's pulling from the file. So just so you know, like once you compress down, if you're at a 128, you can never get that what's lost back. You can't re-encode a 128 file at 192. So it's always good to start really high. 192 is what I use. Hey, drive space is cheap these days. A lot of people will go 320 kilobytes per second, which is fine. A lot of the newer download sites, they offer their MP3s at that size, so why not? It's as lossless as you're going to get with MP3, and it'll work with everything. So there's also FLAC, which is kind of a newer player. I say new, it's been out a few years now, but surprisingly it hasn't caught on as much as I expected it to, because it is lossless. It is a larger file. But again, drive space is, it's not at a premium as it once was. You can go out and buy a terabyte drive for pennies and what it used to cost. So no reason you can't use FLAC. And, our software will play all these formats. So it's not a matter of, of what's going to work better. It's a matter of what do you want your files to sound like? What kind of space are you talking about having for them? So FLAC is lossless, larger file, but a noticeable sound quality difference. So it is going to sound a lot better. WMA, it's Windows standard format. It's what you get if you don't change your settings in Windows Media Player. If you're using Windows Media Player as your converter from CD tracks, and if you're sticking a CD in your hard drive and using Windows Media Player to convert it, WMA is what you're going to get. You can change that setting in Windows Media Player, which I actually recommend for doing your conversion from CD, because it does rip up to 320 kilobytes per second. You just have to make sure that you go into the RIP tab in Windows Media Player and select MP3. So if you select MP3, and it also does a really good job of labeling the files. Windows Media Player uses, I don't believe it's the FreeDB or the CDDB. I think they maintain their own database of metadata for your tracks, so they'll pull down the proper information for your songs while you're converting them. AIFF is really the Mac standard. It is quite a bit larger, and it is more lossless than WMA. A lot of Mac users, this is all they know, and they work great in our software as well. Ogg Vorbis is very similar to FLAC. It's kind of a newer player on the market. It is a larger file, but it is lossless like FLAC. So it is going to sound better, and it does support good tagging or metadata. So I don't know what that pop-up was, but we'll shut that down right away. And then, of course, there's WAV, which is an uncompressed file format. That's just like your CDA tracks. So that's as close as probably you're going to get to CD audio, but they are huge files. I mean, for your typical 5-minute song, you may be talking about 10 megs a minute, 50 megabytes or so, 20 to 50 megabytes, I guess, depending on song length. But again, drive space is not at a premium. You can get it cheap these days, so you could rip to wave. I would recommend some kind of compression. MP3 if you just want to be standard. And then, of course, FLAC, it would be my second recommendation, actually. It sounds fantastic. So, karaoke. If you're doing any karaoke, the two main standards out there, really quickly stay away from MIDI karaoke files. They are not designed for professional karaoke applications. They're designed for maybe these little players and stuff you see online. They sound horrible. They're not actual recordings of the audio. They're just a file that basically tells whatever software they're playing through to fire off notes that sound similar to the original track. With most professional standard karaoke these days, they're all studio recordings. So they're a band in the studio recreating the original content as best as humanly possible. And of course, you do get various qualities, depending on what service and what provider you're going to. So the better the provider, the better the quality, the better the sound's going to be. So you have MP3 plus G. Okay, if you're familiar with regular karaoke discs, these are CDG discs. They're CDs plus graphics. That's what the G stands for. It's the graphic part of it. So when you convert these to your hard drive, you get an MP3 plus G. This is the standard. This is what I'd recommend. It's audio plus graphics. Quickly, I probably should have put a slide in here, but there is a great utility online called Audio Grabber. I'd say 90% of our users that are using our karaoke software use this. If you Google Audio Grabber and space CDG, you're going to find some tutorials that are up there right now that'll tell you where to download the software. It's completely free. It'll also tell you how to convert the disc, what settings to use, and again, you can set the quality of the MP3 all the way up to 320 kilobytes. And that's it. I mean, that's a great file format. It's actually how we sell our content through our service. Zipped MP3 plus G. The only difference between that and MP3 plus G is you're actually putting both the MP3 file and the graphics file, because you have two, the MP3 and the .cdg file. You're zipping them into one file. So you have both the MP3 and the G in the zip file. What that does for you is it saves drive space. It also saves, it saves drive space, and it also saves you from a lot of clutter. If you have MP3 plus Gs, when you open a folder on the drive, you're going to see both an MP3 and a .cdg for the files. If you move things around, if the MP3 and the CDG file aren't in the same folder on the drive, and move something around, when you play the MP3, the graphic will not play. So by zipping them up into one zip file, you're going to make sure that they're always together. So when you play them, it's always going to play the graphics. Video. There are a lot of, again, these are just the popular formats. There are a lot of formats out there. Again, if people want to learn more about any of them, just send me an email. I'll check them out, and I'll do another video. But we have MPEG-4, which is really the industry standard. It's what most services deliver their content in, the promo-onlys of this world, our own service for DJs, for music videos, which is a subscription model, which I'll touch on a little bit later. But they're all in MPEG-4, which is really high quality at a very small size. Well, not the best of quality, okay? Let's say it's really good for anything you would need to use it for. I mean, if you're trying to run HD graphics, probably not the best, but it's a good file size. You're not going to eat up too much drive space. A typical file is going to be about 60 to 70 megabytes, maybe even a little less. And the quality is really comparable to original DVD. I mean, not until you get it really blown up will you see some pixelation. So really recommend MPEG-4. AVI is really just a container file. It's a multitude of variations. Basically, there are tons of different AVIs out there. And, most of them we support. You may run across a file or two that we don't, again, because there's so many non-standards and other people coming out with new ways to package an AVI. We really try to stay on top of that and continue to develop it. So AVI is great. Move files, which is the Apple QuickTime format. That's the standard on any kind of Mac machine. That's what you get, .moves. They are fairly large. Quality is pretty good. I kind of recommend staying with them unless you already have content, or staying away from them if you already have content in those files, in that format. They're going to be fine. We'll play them. You'll have the same kind of control in our software that you would with an MPEG or AVI. All right. So where, now that I've explained the various contents, where do you get this stuff? Okay. There are a lot of services out there. There are a lot of consumer services. Just to touch on this, stay away from DRM services. Stay away from iTunes. I know a lot of people use it. I mean, iTunes is a great utility if you're converting your own CDs, if you're managing files in there, if you're tagging your files, if you're changing file names and things like that. iTunes is great. Okay, what it's not great for is if you buy a song from there at 99 cents, you're going to get a DRM protected file. What is DRM? It's digital rights management. It means, it's copy protection more or less, but it also prevents us from writing information to the file, creating waveforms, writing BPMs. So it's something that you really don't want to use. I mean, it's not for professional use anyway. It's just like a store-bought CD. If you go into a store and look at a CD, on the back in the fine print, it's going to tell you this is not for commercial use. Well, what I've got in front of you are sites that we know are legal for commercial use. Most of them have been designed specifically for DJs or karaoke jocks or VJs. So to quickly go through them, VenueVJ.com, shameless plug, that's our site. You can get there by going to VenueVJ.com. We have a plethora of stuff up there. We have music videos that we're now offering through a new subscription service, compliments of iDJ Pool. So simply click on music videos. It'll run you through how to sign up. You do have to be a professional DJ. You do have to submit a form. But once you're signed up, for I think $99 a month, you can get our ultimate package, which gives you access to all the different content. And there are various packages at different price ranges, so there's probably something there to fit your needs. We also have DJ Music, which is going to be also through the compliments of DJ Pool. It's different categories. I think you have rock, you have pop, you have dance, and then you have the ultimate pack will get you all three. We also have nice little tools for VJs, which are basically stock footage. We have like the dancers, the shadow dancers, so things that you'd want to put up on screen when you're not necessarily playing a music video is what we have for you there. Some cool visualizations, some different various things like that. Beatport. Okay, Beatport is really synonymous with the club DJ world. A lot of the pro DJs on the circuit and out there get their content from here. They have charts, they have different things like that, different tools to help you find what's popular. It ranges from most any types of dance music, from house to trance to break beats to, booty breaks, whatever it may be. I mean, it's a great resource for that. I buy the odd tune from there sometimes myself. So beatport.com, BEATPORT.com. ERG Music, this is another service for DJs. There is subscriptions available there. You can do, they even have this new hard drive based system where you can essentially pay them a subscription and rent the hard drive, and you can swap out content at any time, as long as you're paying. You have access to all their content more or less, and you can swap out the content you have for new content anytime. So that's really helpful. Promo only. Probably the most popular, well-known service out there for pro DJs. They've been around a long time. They offer a series of options, a series of packages, anywhere from audio to video now. You can get CDs where the content's already in MP3 format, or actually I believe they're using a variation of MPEG-4, but it's MPEG-4 audio, a digital file. And really high quality stuff, really good. They're pretty on top of things. They get stuff fairly new, so that's a great resource for jocks. And it's once again legal to play out commercially, making money off the music. KaraokeLocker.com. This is also another gateway to Venue VJ. This is our own karaoke content download service. So as I talked before about MP3 plus G. Zipped MP3 plus G, that's exactly how we sell you the files on KaraokeLocker.com. So you can visit KaraokeLocker.com, do a search. We have everything kind of sectioned out into categories for you. You buy it, you download it, you drop it right in the software and play it. So it's very convenient. In fact, we've built a tab directly into PCDJ Karaoke, our flagship karaoke software for KaraokeLocker.com. So when you do your searches in the program, it'll actually show you results from karaokelocker.com. So if you don't have a particular song, you're at a gig, you got an internet connection, if you do a search, it will bring up results from Karaoke Locker. You can right-click, purchase, download, and play it. So that's really convenient. You can also turn that off, so if you just want to search your library and not have it search karaokelocker.com, that's your choice. Again, back to venuevj.com. That's the screen there in the bottom right that you would see if you clicked music videos. So this discusses your various packages and everything that's available to you. Sign up's easy. You usually can approve you within a day. And you'll have access to tons of MP3 music and MP4 music videos. It's a lot of the new stuff out there too. So this is a great way for DJs to get access to new hot content without paying an arm and a leg, of course, not playing regular retail. And you're legal, which is probably the most important thing. Okay, so this last slide is just going to tell you what I'm going to do once I close these slides. It's just kind of setting up the basics, setting up a sound card output and preferences. I'll show you that a little bit in PCDJ Red Mobile. What settings you're going to want to use to connect to an external mixer. Setting up your secondary output for video karaoke, a huge one we get asked about all the time, and how to enable a controller, any one of these DJ controllers, how to set it up and make sure it's enabled in the software for use. I'll probably mention this again at the end, but you can visit us at PCDJ.com for more information. If you have any questions about what's been covered in this video or sales questions, if you're looking for maybe a little discount or an upgrade on our products, if you own one of our previous software titles, call Mike. The number is 877-999-7235. His direct extension is 108. Or you can just dial extension 2 and you'll get anybody in the sales room office. If you're out of the country, please call us at 727-799-3828. Again, extension 108 for Mike or extension 2 for anyone in sales. So let's go ahead and exit this. What I'm going to do now is open up PCDJ Red Mobile. And show you a little bit about how to set this up with your sound card. Okay, so here is PCDJ Red Mobile 2. This is our latest release. This is designed, as the title indicates, for mobile DJs. It's a lighter software, it's streamlined. The idea is that we give you just what you need, nothing you don't. So what that means ultimately is less screen clutter, less stuff going on screen, which means it's just easier for you to do your job. The motto is concentrate on your DJs, or that would be bad. Concentrate on your clients and not your DJ software. So really quickly, I'm going to click this little gear button in the top left corner of my screen so I can enter the preferences. Here we're looking at the preferences tab in PCDJ Red Mobile. As you can see, just quickly, this is where you can select your user interface. Red Mobile does support skins. We give you a few different screen resolutions with it. What a skin is the appearance of the program, the GUI, the graphical user interface. So you can select various skins if you had them installed, and it can change the entire look of the program. So if you have different needs, then if you just need really simple players, look for a skin with really simple players. We'll be updating our site as we get new skins, as people submit new skins. We'll have a section on the site where you can go and download them. So let's go in the audio tab just to focus here on the task at hand, which would be setting up your sound card. Okay, I don't really have any Pro cards connected because the capture software I'm using really doesn't permit to use them. But I do have the drivers installed, so it will show me my various options. So right here, what you're looking at the top is your select MIDI in devices. If you had a controller, a MIDI DJ controller would show up in that space. Selecting your audio device. Right now I'm just using the default built-in sound card, which again is not really the way you want to go. You want a pro-grade audio card. So you hit this drop-down menu, and if you had one of these pro-grade sound cards connected, like the VerSupport, right down here, you'd select it. And as you can see, it'll say VerSupport USB ASIO driver. That's the lower latency driver. So I will be able to take this slider Move it all the way down to 5 milliseconds, which is about the range that this computer is going to allow me to go in. So I can do that. And here is the big key, though. This is your select your output mode, okay? So if you leave just normal selected, only the speaker signals will be available, which means just one single output, no Q channel. That's it. Bob's your uncle. Okay, so select your output mode. Split mode, as I discussed before and I showed you in the cable slide, this is where you can use that mono cable. So you can split that single output to your left and right channels, one for your speakers or your main output, and one for your headphones. What you're gonna want to do, though, is use multi-channel sound card. Any professional sound card, this is the option you're most generally going to want to select. What this allows, by default, if you don't touch anything else in our software, it's going to be speakers on the front, headphones on the rear. So 1-2 output on the card is going to be your main output to your speaker and amp, and the 3-4 output is going to be for your headphones. I'm going to use an external mixer, of course. That's why this is already pre-selected. Select that, and what that's going to do automatically, even though it doesn't show right here, this is going to send each deck to its own output. So you see each deck and the sampler and mic to the monitor channel. So you can actually have a third channel, which you can select here at the bottom. So basically, use external mixer. You select that. Player A is out through 1-2, player B is out through 3-4. You run to your mixer, and you do all your queuing and monitoring from there directly. I also always want to check this off. When I'm using an external mixer, this will disable your on-screen crossfader and your volume while in external mixer mode. So it'll disable it so that, well, if you screw up and hit something on screen, or you're hitting buttons on your keyboard and you move the fader on screen and you're using your physical fader and you're moving back and forth and wondering why you're only getting one channel, it's probably because on screen you've moved a fader or volume control. So disable that stuff, and you won't have to worry about that at all. Again, here's your additional audio device. Okay, so if you have 2 sound cards connected, you can essentially use the secondary sound card as just your headphones. So I can use one sound card on the computer as my main output, and the secondary sound card for your headphone cue. Okay, and again up here, just so we touch on this now, if you see select MIDI in devices, you can select multiple devices here. So we do allow you to use a multitude. You can use actually 2 DJ controllers if you wanted to. Generally speaking, most people are only going to be using one. You'd be able to select it right there, highlight it, and hit OK. So if it's already supported, that's all you got to do. You select it, like the American Audio DP2, the one we offer, the HC4500 from Denon. It's a matter of just highlighting it, hitting OK. Bang, it's going to work. It's going to light up. The thing will light up like Christmas. And you'll have full control over the software. So you'll be able to do all your scrolling through your playlists. You'll be able to do all your, your beat mixing, your looping, your play, your cue, your pause, your loop, your pitch control, setting cue points, and everything from the controller device directly. Quickly, just to give you a brief overview of what you're looking at, in case anyone's not familiar, you got your 2 players up top, player 1, player 2. You got your mixer section. Down here is what you call your track library or your track database, separated into 2 distinct areas. You got on the left your playlists, your Explorer, which is basically your Windows Explorer, lets you navigate your entire hard drive. And on the right is where your tracks would show up once you've accessed any of your lists or groups. Quickly, a great way to import music, the way I recommend it in the software, you can just hit our add button. It'll give you different ways to add files in. You can just add regular files. You can add an entire folder. You can add your iTunes files. Again, non-DRM iTunes files, so files that you converted with iTunes, not files you bought from iTunes. And then you can import a playlist, which are M3Us, which are really the standard within the industry. Almost any software, whether it's consumer-based or professional, supports an M3U, so you can import those. Now, when you do hit add, it's going to add that content to whatever playlist you're in. If you've selected a playlist you've created or selected the database in our software, when you click add, that's where it's going to add these files. So a really good way to do this is not use this function, actually. The way I like to do it is I'll just go down here. I'll navigate to my desktop where I've put a test music folder. You see it right here, test music. I can right-click on that and say new playlist from folder. It says a new playlist was created based on the selected folder. And if you see up here on the left, you've got lists. And down here at the bottom, I've got test music, which is my folder. So I've got all this content in here, okay? What I've done for the purposes of this demo is in this folder I have audio files, I have karaoke files, I even have video files. Red Mobile doesn't support video, it does support karaoke. So if I select these little, well, I should explain this. At the bottom of the area here on the left, you'll see audio, karaoke, and all. So if I just want to view my audio files in that folder, I click audio. So there's only my audio files. If I just want to view karaoke, I click karaoke. So I have 3 karaoke songs available to me right now in my library. And if I click all, there's all my files. One thing I should touch on here in the library that's important to a lot of people is you can BPM your tracks, which is your beats per minute. So just to show you how this works on one song, if I right-click in this area, if I select a song in this playlist area and right-click, you're going to see options from previewing the song to loading in Deck 1 like 2, but down here you see Analyze and Analyze All. If I click Analyze All, the list that you're in, our software is going to go through and BPM every track that's in that list. It's also going to build the waveform display, and I'll show you what that is when I load a file in a second. A waveform display is basically the visual representation of the song, the peaks and valleys, the highs and lows, the beat, more or less. So let me just analyze this real quick so you can show you how it works. If you see right here, it says analyzing the first song. So it's going through that very first track, and it's going to find the BPM. So once it's done, and everything's going to run a little slower because I've got 3 or 4 programs open, including this capture software. So... Oh, whoops. Probably a bad song to pick because this is a huge file. So we're going to 86 that idea. I'll show you in Dex how it works when I open that up next. So let me just show you just what it looks like when you load a song. So I can either right-click on this file and load to Deck 1, or I can click on it and just drag right up to the player, which I just did. So it'll load the file, and as you can see here, I've got a waveform display. Because this system is going to be running a lot slower right now, it's going to take a while to build this because I have so much things going on, but usually this is an instantaneous thing. You load the file, it builds the waveform display, and you can play it. So none of my audio or anything is going to work right now because I'm using the capture software, but that just shows you how you can load a file. So again, this is PCDJ Red Mobile. Brief introduction. If you want to learn more about these products, I already did some really in-depth intro videos for Red Mobile, for PCDJ Dax. All you have to do is either go to PCDJ.com, click on the subsequent product page, go to either PCDJ Dax page to view that video, or PCDJ Red Mobile to view that video, or you can visit us on YouTube. Our channel is D1 Media, which is just the letter D, number 1, M-E-D-I-A. If you search for that and go to our channel, it's probably the top 2 videos you're going to find there are going to be all about an introduction to Red Mobile and Dex. It'll really take you more in depth on this stuff. Of course, we also have trials. If you haven't already, you can download a fully functional demo of PCDJ Red Mobile from PCDJ.com. It'll work for 20-minute intervals, so you can use it for 20 minutes. At a time. You can reopen it, of course, and reuse it again. It's just going to shut down every 20 minutes to make sure you're not going out there and making money with this thing just yet. But it will let you get the full understanding of the product. Again, watch the tutorials. It's going to really help you get started. So let me go ahead and exit this. Now let's show you PCDJ Dax. This is Red Mobile's big brother. This is our flagship DJ software. It is designed for, oh wait, I think I already started it, didn't I? Okay, so there it goes. Now it's open. Alright, so here's PCDJ Dax. Again, this is our flagship top-of-the-line software. It is designed to mix audio, video, and even playback karaoke files. So this is just a quick overview. You've got 4 decks in Dex. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. This is also skinnable, so you can change the interface. I know we're also working on a lighter version of this skin right now, so there'll be like a lighter, trimmed down version for those that maybe don't need 4 decks. But as you see here, what's different in the middle, you have a video output window that you can simply click to enable. When you're playing a music video, or if you're just setting this up, this little video window will pop up. When you select it, you can simply drag it off to your other monitor and double click it to go full screen there. Let's just show you real quick. I'm going to add a folder and just show you. Create a new playlist from folder, much like I did in Red Mobile. Here's my test music. So if I just want to view my videos, there are my videos. Take a video. I'll drag this sucker up. It's going to load it. Everything's going to be a little slow again, just because I'm running all this video capture software. Enable video. And there's your video output. So you can loop, you can scratch, you can cut the video just like you could regular audio, which is really cool. Same preferences as Red Mobile. You do have a few more options. Not only can you control this with a controller, but you have timecode. I can get into that in a whole nother webinar just about timecode. All that it means is you can take a piece of vinyl. We support a few different variations. And control the software with turntables. So you can essentially plug in into your sound card from turntables, use the vinyl to manipulate the software. So it's pretty neat. Again, you have different skins. We include quite a bit with this one, and there'll be others that people will support. Those will also be online at PCDJ.com. One thing I want to show you with Dax, again, if you want to learn more about Dax specifically, please visit PCDJ.com, the PCDJ Dax page. Watch the intro video. I'm going to be releasing a series of videos. It's going to get more intricate as we go along. We're going to get more into controllers. We're going to shoot some live videos in some clubs. All kinds of great stuff to just get you really familiar with the product, make you understand its capabilities. But something we get asked about a lot that I think I should touch on, I'm going to show you with the karaoke software. Let me just close this real quick. Wrong button. Is PCDJ Karaoke. This is our professional karaoke show hosting product. What I mean by that is it does everything that a KJ host would typically need. You can do, obviously, your play karaoke files and display the lyrics, but you have key control. You can pre-adjust key, which means change the actual key of the file to match somebody's maybe vocal range without affecting the tempo of the song. So you just affect the key, the song still plays at the same speed, so you can do that. You can do drink specials, which we call it a news ticker, basically. I always say drink specials, because generally that's what guys use it for, but you can put different text to scroll across the bottom of the screen. It will show you who your next singers are. It'll store a history of your singers. So really everything that you need to perform a really good KJ show as a KJ host. So we're launching. And, quickly, you're going to be presented with this screen when you first run karaoke. You only run plug-in mode if you're using one of our older PCDJ Dax 1.1 or PCDJ Red Mobile 1.1 versions. So most of the time, if you're a KJ host, you're going to be running this standalone, so that's what you're going to select. You can, of course, select it so that it doesn't show up again, and then we'll bring it up. So obviously, in order for this to work the way you'd want it to work, you want the, and you can resize this by simply dragging and resizing it because I want to show you my desktop a little bit, is that you want to be able to send the lyrics only to a window. So you want to be able to work within our software on your screen, you know, see all your functions, build your playlists, do your searches and all those kinds of things. But you don't want your audience to see that, obviously. You just want them to see your next singer box up here, and you want to see the words while you're playing them. This is really simple. I'm in Windows 7 right now, but if you have an older OS, like Windows XP or Windows Vista, which is a mess upon itself, but if you have one of those operating systems, you can still do this. What I would recommend is Google Extended Desktop Windows XP or Extended Desktop Windows Vista, and there'll be tutorials on YouTube or wherever else that'll show you how to set this up. But simply, in Windows 7, you right-click on your desktop, you go to screen resolution. And again, my computer's running at a snail's pace, but we'll get there. So the first thing is you're going to be connecting your laptop to that secondary monitor or TV, okay? So what you would normally see, and because I don't have this connected, I'll have to do this in a later video, is you'd have two up here. You'd have a 1 representing your screen and a 2 representing the other monitor or TV. You would connect to that device, you know, the monitor or TV, via your video output on your built-in video card. Any machine has a VGA output right now, so it's all about getting the right cable to connect to the TV or monitor. Most of them, or at least the newer LCDs or plasmas or whatever it may be, obviously plasma is a dying breed, but if it is one of those, the newer flat panel type, type displays, they're going to have a VGA output on the side. So it's simply taking with a VGA cable from your VGA output, which is that little 9-pin connection on the side of your machine, to that other machine. Once it's connected, your laptop or computer will automatically display that secondary option. So you'd highlight it, right where my mouse is clicking right now is where it would be. And down here, you will have an option. I'm going to have to do a video for this now that I see this. You would have an option for a drop-down menu, and it will say, generally, or by default, it's going to say mirror. Okay, when you click that download, or that little download tab, just like this one, it'll show you a different one. You'll click it, and you'll see an option for extend my Windows desktop onto this monitor. That's the option you want. You click that, you enable it, you hit OK, or you hit apply and OK. And what's going to happen is, instead of seeing a mirror image of your laptop, your desktop there on that secondary display, you're going to see just your desktop wallpaper. That's what you're going to see initially. So you'll hit OK, you'll be OK with that. So that's all you see. Now, if you look here in PCDJ Karaoke, or when we were in PCDJ Dax, there was a screen 2 button or enable video. When you click that, send out your second video. You see here, okay, it's only showing up on my screen because I don't have a secondary monitor connected, but if I did, this little window here would fill full screen on that secondary monitor. So it's really simple once you've set up extended desktop in Windows, or on your Mac for that matter. I'll have to do a video specific to Mac, that it will just fill that secondary screen. So that's simple. I mean, once it's set up, every time you connect the machine, it should automatically find the other monitor, and it's as simple as opening Karaoke and hitting screen 2. I am going to conclude this for now. We're going to have to sit down and do another webinar specific to these different products here. There's just so much in-depth functionality and so many great tools at your disposal. I think they all kind of warrant their own video. So in the time being, for the time being, I know this has gone kind of long. I expected a half-hour video. I'm already over an hour. So if you have questions, if you have suggestions for videos, if you need to place any orders for any products, give us a call. All our salespeople on staff are very knowledgeable. Just give Mike a call specifically if you want to. He's like the number one guy on the sales floor back there. You can reach him or any of us, at 877-999-7235, extension 2. There's a plethora of information on the site. You've got all support documents, manuals, things like that that'll help you through the way. I do suggest going to the site and trying out some of our demos if you haven't already. You can download a demo of the karaoke software I'm showing on screen right now and use it fully functional for 14 days. Watch our videos on the site. Join us on Facebook. Visit Facebook. I think we're facebook.com/PCDJHQ. If that's not true, at PCDJ.com we have links to all this stuff under our community tab at the top of our homepage. So follow us on Twitter, join us on Facebook, become our friends, and give us some feedback. If you like the video, if you like this little webinar we've put together, let us know. If you hate it, let us know. If you have suggestions, please tell us, because we just want to make sure that we're informing our public. This has been, my pleasure. I hope you enjoyed everything. Hope you understand a little bit more about digital DJing and everything you need to kind of get going. Of course, besides all the hardware we showed you, you need our software. You need DJ software to really make this all tick. So listen, thanks a lot, and everybody have a wonderful evening. And I almost forgot the most important part, but wait, there's more. Let me open up this slide real quick. Well, we hope you learned something. Thanks for coming out to show our gratitude. You can use this coupon code we have here on your screen, the PCDJ Webinar 10. at checkout at PCDJ.com if you visit the store, and on checkout of either PCDJ Dax 2.0, PCDJ Red Mobile 2.0, or PCDJ Karaoke. If you use that coupon code, you'll get an instant discount of $10 off. That's valid for the next 3 days. Once again, thanks for coming out, and we hope you attend our future webinars. Thanks.